Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to an installment of Scott Selections here for Monday, November 4th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. Unfortunately, the slump that we were in has continued as the Green Bay Packers were unable to cover the 3.5 as they ended up losing outright. Closed at -4 market wide, so we did get a good number when we jumped on it, but Green Bay came out flat in their trip to the West Coast, and unfortunately, that ended up ruining the play of the day. Now, in terms of today's betting card, there's one play that I want to give out right now, just based on the fact that this line has actually plummeted in the last couple of minutes, but it is still available 2 points higher than the average number at one sportsbook, and for that reason, we will be giving that out as the play of the day. First reason why, yes, CR, you kind of hit on that with the Blazers. Now, the main thing that we're going to be talking about here, though, is going to be on the total. We like two plays in this game, but the first play of the day will be on the total, and we like the under 221, which is available at FanDuel at -110. Main reason why we like this play is twofold. One, because every other offshore book market wide is currently at 219.5, and yet FanDuel still has theirs at 221. So you're already getting at least 1.5 points of value if you just take this right now. And based on the fact that I think this line will continue to drop due to some injury news, I definitely like the under in this game. Main reason why this has dropped is due to some breaking news regarding some injuries. As everybody knows, with the Warriors, that Steph Curry will be out for a couple of months, Draymond Green will be out for the next couple of games, and Klay Thompson will be out for the rest of the year. Everyone knows that. However, the Warriors have announced a couple of minutes ago that D'Angelo Russell will also not be playing in this game, which means that the starting lineup for the Warriors in this game will be Kai Bowman, Jordan Poole, Glenn Robinson, Eric Pascal, and Willie Cauley-Stein. That's their starting lineup. Now, the Trailblazers will still be using Lillard and McCollum. Rodney Hood is currently a game-time decision, but he is probable for this game. Mario Hezonja will be taking the power forward spot after Zach Collins has been ruled out, but Hassan Whiteside is also probable, which means that Golden State's number one option on offense might be Jordan Poole. That is awful. So I understand why money has come in towards this under. It literally just went, it was opened up at 224.5. It's already down to 219.5. And every offshore book has 219.5 except for FanDuel. FanDuel still has 221. So that's going to be the play of the day, at least one of them, based on the fact that that is going to be just a huge amount of value, because I expect this line to end up closing roughly 216.5. This line will continue to plummet as people will assume the Warriors will struggle to even score 100 points. So I think this line will continue to fall. So I like the under there. And in addition to that, we are also giving out another play of the day in the same game. We like the Portland Trailblazers -11, which is available on FanDuel as well at -110. So we like two plays of the day on the same game. Same exact logic. You have Lillard and McCollum together who will be playing, where Golden State will be using Kai Bowman and Jordan Poole as their main guards. This team just lost to Charlotte, and Draymond Green is still out. Charlotte stinks. Golden State's terrible. I think everyone knows that Golden State is pretty much in preparation for the lottery in the upcoming year. And Portland, even though they lost a heartbreaker to the 76ers in their last game, it is worth mentioning that this team has actually been very solid on the road this season, as they're currently 3-0 on the road. So this team has done a really good job away from home, and I think they will continue to do that, as Golden State has struggled so far in the Chase Center. Yeah, see, our Golden State has been absolutely terrible. Nothing really to talk about. KD left. Klay Thompson got injured in the finals, and Curry then got injured. Draymond got injured. I think Draymond realistically could be playing if the team was actually competitive, but I think the organization is aware that this team has no shot at winning a championship. They have decided to just put all their chips into the draft lottery. I think it makes sense. It's upsetting. I know that people don't like Golden State, but it's definitely I would say it's a little bit annoying to see such a tough Western Conference be made a little bit easier because of one team's complete implosion. So it's kind of disappointing. But either or, hopefully we'll be able to make some money out of it, as Draymond will not be playing. Even D'Angelo is not playing. He could easily play if he wants to, but I feel like Golden State is going to start putting everybody on load management, because there's literally no point in even playing these games. They just want a shot at potentially LaMelo Ball or somebody in the draft. So I don't know, but that remains to be seen. Either or, the two plays of the day, just based on the injury news alone and the number itself, will be on the Portland Trailblazers -11, as well as the under 221 in the same game, and those will be the two plays of the day. Honestly, we've had a bit of a bad run. I know college basketball starts tomorrow, and I am pumped for that. As some of you also know that college basketball is kind of my specialty. If you were around when the channel started, I'd say about 8 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, give or take. But either or, the number itself is too good to pass up on. I think Portland will close somewhere in the realm of minus 12 and a half, minus 13. And I think that Golden State, I think the total will end somewhere around 217, 216. So based on those two numbers, we like what we got, and those will be the plays of the day. However, I will give out some leans as there is going to be a Monday Night Football game, as well as some other NBA to talk about and even some NHL. So I will dive into those. In terms of the Monday Night Football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants, Cowboys open up at -7. They're available at -6.5 in some of the offshore markets, but for the most part, it is pretty much market wide at -7. In terms of where I would lean in this game, uh, it's a tough spot. I'll have to lean to the Cowboys though. I know that the Giants looked good offensively against the Lions. That was in a dome. That doesn't change the fact that the Cowboys are entering this game off a bye. I know that Van Der Esch is injured, but the Cowboys right now are in a dogfight with the Eagles for first place in the division. The Giants aren't officially out of the race yet, but I think we all know that realistically it's going to come down between the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'm really not a big fan of going against teams that are off a bye because it gives them a chance to get healthier. The Cowboys' main issues have been in health with regard to the offensive line, but now Tyron Smith is back. You have Collins back. And this Cowboys team absolutely torched the Giants in week 1. I know Eli Manning was the quarterback for the majority of that game, and now it's Daniel Jones, and I get that it's in MetLife. But simply put, I just think Dallas is a much better team. The Giants have no offensive line. Their secondary is terrible. I think Dak has an issue when he's pressured, but the Giants' pass rush is not that great. I think this game will be close for a little while, but I definitely think the Cowboys will just pound the rock with Zeke. I don't think anyone can guard Cooper because I think Janoris Jenkins is a little bit I think he's overrated. I think the Giants' linebacking core is pretty pedestrian. I just don't like anybody on the Giants' defense, and I think that the Cowboys will do whatever they want offensively. And I think their pass rush, I don't know if Michael Bennett will play in this game or not after the Cowboys acquired him, but the Cowboys have some depth with regard to the defensive line. And I think as long as you stop Barkley and you force Daniel Jones to throw the ball a little bit, I think he could get pressured into making some mistakes. So for that reason, I'll lean to the Cowboys -6.5. I would not take it to -7, though, because this game could easily end in a push for that. But -6.5, I think, is a good number to get. So I will lean to that. And in terms of the over-under, money's come in on the over, open up at 47, up to 48.5. I'm going to lean to the over as well on that. I'll back the line movement in that. I know a lot of people want to take the over in these type of primetime games, even though most of the games have gone under. But both defenses have some concerns. With Van Der Esch out for the Cowboys, Sean Lee should be getting a decent amount more playing time. I love Sean Lee as a player. He's never healthy, so I question how good he actually is anymore after all these injuries he had to deal with his entire career. Jalen Smith is still great, but the Cowboys' defensive line is okay. Their secondary has been pretty inconsistent with the exception of Byron Jones, and I think this game could lead to some points. So I'll lean to the over, but a stronger lean to the Cowboys -6.5. Now, in terms of the rest of the NBA card, money's come in on the Wizards. They open up at -2. They're up to -4. There's no way I'm taking the Wizards. After what happened in the play of the day that I gave out with the Wizards and the Timberwolves, which was solely based on the line movement and based on the fact that Towns was not going to play, the Wizards still lost by about 30. And the Timberwolves did not have the best player, and the game was in Washington. There is no way that I'm taking the Wizards in this game. I think Andre Drummond can easily go for another 20-20 game, and I think that Detroit will win this game outright. Is it possible I'm wrong? Maybe, but I just think the Wizards are not a good enough team to be laying 3.5 or 4 points. I think this team stinks. I think they will be decent in the first quarter, maybe after getting embarrassed. Maybe in the first half also, just based on the fact that they got embarrassed, and I'm sure that Scott Brooks definitely yelled at the entire roster for such a no-show on a home game. But at the same point, if you look at the overall rosters, I just don't think Washington is that good of a team. I think this line says volumes potentially about the fact that this might be a trap spot where they might just be baiting the public into taking Detroit. But at the same point, I cannot personally take the Wizards as I just don't think they're that good of a team. First quarter might make some sense as they will look to have a better defensive showing after such a terrible showing in their last game against Minnesota. But overall, I'd have to lean to Detroit because I just think the Wizards aren't that good. Moving on between Brooklyn and the Pelicans, high total, it opened up at 238. It's currently up to 238.5. I'm a Nets fan, so for the record, I don't think my team is that good. I've seen us play. I get that we're hyped because of the fact that we got Kyrie. If you look at the rest of the team, we play no defense, and we go hero ball in the fourth quarter with Kyrie Irving or even Spencer Dinwiddie, this team's execution, even the coach Atkinson said we're not even running any plays. We're kind of just going with the flow. And I just don't like that quote. I get you want to build chemistry between the players, but telling people to do whatever they want just doesn't really sound like a very valid strategy. Now, do I think New Orleans is a good team? No, I don't think they are, but I would have to lean to the over because I think both teams will be looking to run tempo. The Pelicans play no defense, Brooklyn plays no defense, and both teams will just be looking to run up and down the court and shoot a ton of threes. Now, in terms of the injury report, Derek Favors is currently questionable for this game, who was the starting center for the Pelicans. However, I feel like that could lead to an even faster pace if New Orleans decides to go smaller. So I think you should see both teams break the 120s. I think this game will go over, and that is my main thought on the game. In terms of the spread, I have no thoughts on the spread. I think Brooklyn has played terribly. Congratulations, we beat the Rockets. The Rockets just lost by 30 to the Heat. That doesn't really mean much to me. I don't think Houston's that good of a team. But overall, I'll lean to the over on that one. Moving on, speaking of the Rockets, you got Houston versus Memphis. Houston is currently a 5.5-point favorite over Memphis, and money has come in on the under from 234 to 230. Main reason why there's been movement towards the Grizzlies is due to the fact that Russell Westbrook has been ruled out for this game, so James Harden will be doing it himself. Maybe I'm kind of crazy, but at the same point, I feel like the Rockets might actually play better with Westbrook off the floor. That might sound dumb, but clearly what they're doing when they're both on the floor in terms of defense has been terrible. You can't give up 158 points to the Wizards in regulation and expect to be competitive. I think that I told you from the beginning of the season with Harden and Westbrook when I gave out the Bucks on opening night, I think that this is a disaster waiting to happen. I think both of these, you can't have two guards who play no defense in the starting lineup. That's just an absolute recipe for disaster. I think this team will play better tonight. I think the Grizzlies are a little bit of a sleeper team, but at the same point, they're still very young, and I think they will need some time to mature. Plus, Jaren Jackson, the best defender on the entire Grizzlies roster, will not be playing due to a knee injury. I think the Rockets will do whatever they want. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, CR, I think that Jackson is the best player on the team. You can argue Morant, but he's still a bit unproven. Jackson's one of the best rim protectors in the entire league. Very underrated. But as a whole, I think Houston will look a lot better with Harden controlling the ball 95% of the time instead of having to share it with Westbrook. I think the Rockets should win this game by I think they're going to win pretty comfortably, actually. I think that the Rockets will play better now that Harden will do whatever he wants offensively. And in terms of the game itself, I'm actually going to lean to the over 230. I know a lot of money's coming on the under with regard to 234 as it's down to 230. I think it's a little bit of an correction, I should say, because Memphis' best player in Jaren Jackson is also their best defender. So now I don't think there's really any rim protectors. I think both teams are just going to shoot a ton of threes, go up tempo, and just try to score as many points as they can. I think this game will end somewhere in the realm of, I'd say, I don't even know, maybe 125 to like 110 or so. I think this will go over the total. I think this is a bit of an overreaction with Westbrook being out. So for that reason, because whether or not Westbrook's in or out, the Rockets are still going to chuck up a ton of threes. That's not going to change anything. So I'm going to lean to the over on that one as well, but I'll lean to the Rockets. Moving on, Milwaukee versus Minnesota. I'm going to lean to Milwaukee. Money's coming on Milwaukee. They were at 6.5. They're up to 7.5. Same logic as why I took the Wizards the other day. Towns is still suspended, which means that Giannis Antetokounmpo will be guarded by Noah Vonleh or Robert Covington. Good luck with that. I think the Bucks will win this game by about 15. I think that Minnesota definitely punched Washington in the mouth, but I think that's because Washington just isn't a good team. I think Milwaukee is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I think they will take advantage. I think you could look towards the Wolves for the points, but at the same point, I expect Giannis to go for about 30 and 15 again. I just don't think anyone on Minnesota can guard him, and I think he'll do whatever he wants. So lean to the I'll lean to the Bucks on that one. And the last game of the NBA, you have the 76ers versus the Suns with Joel Embiid out. Now, in terms of the game itself, I'm still going to lean to Philly, as they actually had a very impressive win against Portland, where they ended up coming from behind with a game-winning three-pointer with less than a second remaining. The Suns have looked really good this season. I mentioned that before. But at the same point, Philadelphia, even with Embiid out, their lineup defensively is actually really good. You have Ben Simmons at the point guard. I know he's not much of an offensive threat, especially with his inability to shoot. But at the same point, defensively, he's still like a 6'7", 6'8" point guard, so he's good defensively. Richardson's still tall, so he can guard some people, decent three-point shooter. Then you got Thibault, who I think is one of the most underrated defenders in the entire league. He's absolutely insane as a rookie. He's been really good defensively. Tobias Harris is okay defensively, nothing special, but Al Horford's pretty good defensively. I'll lean to the under in that one. I think this game will be close, but I think at the same point, I think 223 is too high of a total. Embiid is an offensive force. I know that he's also a good rim protector, and I get that. But Philadelphia is so just long that they can easily switch on every pick and roll. They do whatever they want, and Phoenix does play a physical style of basketball with Javon Carter off the bench. I think this will be a bit more low scoring than anticipated. I'll lean to the under on that one. But in terms of the last game, I already told you the two plays today will be on Portland minus 11 as well as the under 221 and as well as the under 221, as it's been pretty much available at 219.5 market wide now, and I expect that line to continue to fall now that D'Angelo Russell has been ruled out for this contest. So for that reason, it's actually funny that I mention it because FanDuel has officially locked that game right now with the Trailblazers and the Warriors because of everything I just said. So because of that, it's a good thing we gave it out about 15 minutes ago because you wouldn't have been able to get it now. So the line is going to change. Hopefully you got the number while you could. And overall, the Trailblazers are already up to minus 11.5, and we gave them out at minus 11. So expect that line to continue to climb as we ended up getting the best number possible. So other than that, though, looking at the hockey card, I'm sorry this video is getting a little bit long, but I know a lot of you want leans on stuff, so I'm going to give those out. In terms of the hockey leans, you have Ottawa versus the Rangers. I'll lean to the over 6.5. I've seen Ottawa play. I know that they're one of the worst teams in the league. They play no defense, and the Rangers also like to play a little bit more up-tempo. Their goalies have been okay this season. Lundqvist has looked a bit old. Georgiev has actually looked pretty good in net. But Ottawa's defense is terrible. I think this game should end somewhere in the realm of 5-3, 5-2. I think it'll be high scoring, lean to the over. Moving on, Boston and Pittsburgh. I have to lean to Boston. Tuukka Rask right now is the favorite to win the Vezina Trophy. He's been the best goalie in all of hockey. And Boston's won 5 straight. They have the best record in the entire league. I know that they're minus 160 against Crosby, and that looks intimidating. But Boston's unbelievable. I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I think they're the best team in all of hockey. Lean to Boston on that one. Moving on, Nashville versus Detroit. I'm going to actually lean to the under 6 here. I think Nashville is very solid goalies. Rene will be in net. I think Nashville will win this game pretty handily. Detroit's offense has been a bit inconsistent so far this season, and I think that overall, I think Nashville will win this game, but I'll lean to the under because I think this game will be low scoring. I'll say somewhere in the realm of 3-1, give or take, lean to Nashville. And last but not least, you have the Arizona Coyotes versus the Edmonton Oilers. As the line originally opened up at Edmonton minus 120, it's currently down to roughly minus 107. Overall, lean to Edmonton. I know that the line movement looks a little bit sketchy, but at the same point, Edmonton has been great. They've been really good at home. And if you have to back anybody, I would back McDavid and Draisaitl as they're one of the best 1-2 duos in the entire league. Arizona is a solid goalie, and Darcy Kempfer, very underrated. But their offense has struggled a bit this season. Mike Smith is definitely no goalie to slouch at for Edmonton, as well as the backup, who has been pretty good as well. But Edmonton's been great at home, and they have the best 2 players on the ice. So lean to Edmonton on that one on the money line. But overall, I think I pretty much covered everything. I'm pumped for college basketball tomorrow. Get excited. It's crazy that it's finally upon us. I will be giving out a play on college basketball tomorrow. In terms of the actual breakdowns, though, I'm curious how you guys want me to do them because college basketball will be having probably in the realm of about 30-something plus games every single day minimum. For example, Tuesday you have about at least 60-something games. I don't really know how you want me to break those down. I could give out some leans on maybe some of my favorite games. So I maybe could give out 5 to 10 leans or so. There's no way I'm going to cover the entire card because that'll take about half an hour. But I'll give out a play of the day, maybe 2 or so, and then I'll give out some leans. Maybe I'll just cover line movement for all the games and just talk about, where sharp money has come in on. So we can figure that out accordingly. Let me know in the comment section how you want me to break down college basketball in terms of the leans. But overall, it was a lot of fun with today's video. Sorry if it was a bit long for all of you, but there was a lot to cover. So the 2 plays today, once again, are on the Trailblazers minus 11, and as well as the under 221, which was available at minus 110 at FanDuel, and that will do it for this installment of Scott Selections here for Monday, November 4th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.